Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make 15 bean soup with ham. So everything you see on my counter is what we're going to use to make this. I had some leftover ham I'm putting into this 15 bean soup. Plus I'm using chicken broth and water as what's going to go in as the liquid. So it's just like basically 4 cups of chicken broth and 2.5 of water, which are basically going to add up the whole part of the soup mix to this. And then there's just a few other things going into this, which it couldn't be easier to use. It was some rice, some green and red bell peppers. We're going to use some onion, some minced garlic, and our beans and some seasoning. So that's all you really need to do this. So we're going to start out the night before because we want to give these beans time to soak. So open up your packaging and remove that seasoning pack that's inside. We're not even going to use that. That's meant to give it a taste of ham, which we don't need that. And we're going to dump these into water and we're just going to let them soak overnight until they're ready to be used, because it says to do this on the packaging. There is a quick method you could use on this, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to do the regular way of doing it. And once these are ready to be used the next day, we're going to drain the water off and put them into what we're doing. But in the meantime, we have a medium onion, which we're going to cut this up into smaller pieces so that way we can use this. Because remember, you're going to be spooning this out of your soup. You don't want huge hunks of onion. You want basically some slivers of them to go into this whole thing. So just take your medium onion, cut it up completely, make sure that it breaks up a bit before it goes into your pot, and just slice up the whole thing and get it set to the side. Once this is done, I'm going to put mine back in a bowl and then get ready to cut up the ham that you see here. And this is leftover ham from the holidays. I have probably 1.5 to 2 cups here once it's cut up. When you're cutting up the ham, just a reminder, again, it has to fit on a spoon, so we don't want really huge hunks of ham. We kind of just want them cut up into pieces. Now mind you, when this does cook into the soup, it will cook down a little bit, but you just want to go ahead and slice it up completely. So I'm working my way through all that I have here. I did not trim off any extra stuff to this. I want it all going in there for the flavor to hit this soup, because it actually lends so much to the soup to have actual ham in here. You could do this with ham hocks if you had them. And that whole process, you know, you're going to cook the ham hocks in the soup, remove it, and then take the meat off and then put the meat back into your 15 bean soup, which basically I'm just doing it straightforward with ham here because it's a good use for leftover ham, especially after the holidays, or if you just had a ham in general, it's a great way to use it up. So get this all cut up, make sure that all the pieces are separated, and then we're going to move on to either a large pot or a Dutch oven, and I'm using my Dutch oven. And I put at least 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil into this, and I'm adding in the onion that was cut up, and then I'm going to bring in 3/4 of a cup of green and red bell peppers, which mine were frozen. And that's perfectly cool because it's a lot cheaper to get it this way and use it. And once they're into my Dutch oven, I'm going to have this on medium high heat, and I'm going to cook these for about 5 minutes or so to, 1, thaw out the green and red bell peppers, but 2, cook the onions as well, because they need to be cooked. We want them actually softened up before the soup really gets going here, because if you're eating a soup, you really don't want to bite into the soup and get a crunchy onion or something that's not really cooked well. So go ahead, keep this in here, keep moving it around, and on medium high heat after 5 minutes, it should start looking a lot like this. And we just want to make sure that everything is cooked and softened up, because we really don't want those hard pieces in there. And then once we get it to a certain point, we're going to add in at least 1.5 tablespoons of minced garlic. Now, we want to make sure that these are pretty much softened up before the minced garlic goes in, because you're only going to cook that minced garlic for about 30 seconds in here, because we don't want to scorch it and we don't get that awful taste that you get from minced garlic when you cook it way too long. So put it in, cook it for at least 30 seconds or so, just to make sure that everything in it is cooked as well. And then we're going to add in our ham that we already cut up. So just go ahead and mix that minced garlic through, get it cooked, and then bring in the ham. Now, once we get the ham in, we're going to cook this for a little bit longer, so that way the ham gets a chance to warm up and actually get to temperature with what's already in our pot or whatever you're cooking it in. So just get all that ham in there, and then take your spatula and work it through, so that way the onions, the green and red bell peppers are all surrounding the ham, and the ham isn't just sitting on top. So go ahead and mix that through. And then once we get this all mixed up and we feel that the temperature has come up in like my Dutch oven here, I'm going to add in 4 cups of chicken broth. Now, this is not all the liquid that's going in. That's just what we're going to add right now. But I want to get the chicken broth in there and get its temperature up as well. So once everything in here is to a good temp and we see a lot of heat coming off of this, then we're going to go ahead and add the 4 cups of chicken broth. Now, if you're using one of the containers from the store, usually there's about 4 cups in one of those smaller containers, and that's what mine was. So that's where I went straight for the 4 cups of that. And we're just going to pour it in over top of everything and let it heat up. So once this is in here and we get to temperature, and we're really trying to get everything up to where the broth is actually as hot as everything was already in your pot, then we're going to add in the beans that we drained from earlier to take the water off from sitting overnight. So get that temperature up, and then we'll add in our beans. Now, once the beans are in there, we will be adding water to this to add more to the level. But as you can see, my pot is already hot here. We got everything going on. And here are the beans that have already been drained. Just get them out of your bowl. Make sure you get them all in there. And if you just drain that water out, sometimes they will stick to your bowl, so you might have to scrape them out. But once they're in, we want to mix them through what's already in the Dutch oven or pot, just to get it totally mixed through. Now, again, we're letting this temperature come up a little bit. Now, when I go to add water to this, and I'm going to add 2.5 cups of water, I'm going to put in hot water. I'm putting it in my microwave first for like 2.5 minutes, and just in the measuring cup, bring it over and dump it in. So that way I don't bring the temperature of my pot down. I want to keep it hot and keep everything mixing the way it should, because if we didn't and we put cold water, and we'd have to wait for it to come up all over again. So there's no point in that. Just go ahead and add in 2.5 cups of hot water. And once we get this in, we're going to put a cover on this, and we're going to cook it at a medium temperature. We're going to turn it down a little bit and leave it for 1.5 hours. Now we're going to come back from time to time and stir this. And we just want to make sure that everything is incorporated. So mix this up a little bit before you put that lid on. And then, like I said, 1.5 hours cook time, and then we're going to come back to it. And then when we come back, we're going to add in some long grain rice to this. So once you come back to it, and you can see it's been cooking quite a while, it's definitely steamed up there. That's very nice. We're going to add into this 1/2 cup of long grain rice, and then we're going to add some seasoning. So we have 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of Creole seasoning, which we're going to throw into this. Now, once this is in there, we're going to mix it up, because we want this to actually cook for another 20 minutes. So that way the rice cooks, and also that seasoning has a chance to mix through everything that's in your pot. But after the 20 minutes, you're ready to serve this. And the best thing you can do with this is, like, you know, if you want to just serve this as a bowl of soup, you can make something like cornbread or something, corn muffins to go with it, and they work perfectly with this. And it's the best thing, especially something hot on a cold day. It's just amazing. So this is mine when I got to the end, and I came back to the final after the 20 minutes, and it's all cooked. It's all ready to go. And I got to tell you, it smells so amazing when you take that lid off there at the final. But it just looks so good, and it's ready to go. And that's the best thing about it. This is not really hard. It's really easy to put together. You just cook it for a while. That's the long part of it, is waiting for this to be done, because in the end you're going to wait like a couple hours for it to be totally done, but that's okay. And when I served mine, it looked something like this, and these were my corn muffins, and I got to tell you, this is really great, and I think you just might like it. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.